The fastest woman in the U.S. this year has been suspended from the U.S. Olympic team. Sha'Carri Richardson failed a drug test, testing positive for marijuana, and now she's been suspended for a month, and she can't run her race in the Olympics. Sports agent and analyst Doug Eldridge joining us live now to discuss this. And Doug, Sha'Carri says she was dealing with the death of her mother. She made a big mistake. It does have some wondering, why is marijuana a banned substance?
Well, it's a sad story. It's a cautionary tale, but I think in the bigger picture, this is really going to open the book and really dial up the conversation in terms of why marijuana is banned, to your point. But as it currently stands, there are really two categories of drugs: performance-enhancing drugs, which are your steroids, your direct performance enhancers, and then what they call substances of abuse. Marijuana fits into the latter category. Now, the reason that Sha'Carri got a 30-day suspension instead of the traditional 3 months is, number one, it was an out-of-competition test. Number two, it was not performance-enhancing. And number three, she underwent counseling. There's a chance she'll still be included on the relay pool because they can take 6 athletes, selecting 4 to run. But to your point, she is eliminated from the 100-meter dash. Now, a lot of people have asked, wait a minute, why weed? This wasn't a steroid. If anything, this would bring her down and relax her. And it's legal in 17 states and D.C. But WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, of which USADA, our U.S. division, is a signatory to, has determined that marijuana is illegal. She tested positive for it. She owned up to it. Now it's about moving forward.
So she's banned from running her race, the 100-meter, but she still might be able to compete in the relay, as you said. What factors go into that decision, and do you think that the likely outcome is she'll be able to run in that race?
Well, I think it's been an overwhelming public sentiment behind her, not necessarily apologizing for her testing positive. It's on the rules. She broke the rules. It is what it is. But in the bigger picture, we're going to see a real line of questioning and a broader discussion on this. I mean, she came out of the U.S. Olympic trials, arguably the fan favorite in the United States. From the tragic, trackside disclosure that she found out her biological mother had died just before she raced, to the former First Lady Michelle Obama tweeting her 48 hours later, to just the general aesthetic, and to talk about marketability. When you have that on-track and off-track, balance of personality and performance, she's an absolute explosive star at 21 years old. I think there's a very, very good chance that she'll be selected for the relay pool. She won the trials, even though it was disqualified. She's run the fastest time in the 100 in the world this year. She's the NCAA record holder. She broke that 2 years ago. She is the woman to beat in Tokyo. I think there's a very, very good chance that she'll be selected. She owned up to it. She's moving forward. She's being responsible. And I think she has a growing number of 330 million fans rooting for her and behind her and hoping to see her on the oval in Tokyo.
You do really feel for her because she did apologize, and she's repeatedly said, I'm human. I think in her interview this morning, she said, I'm just like you. I just run a little bit faster. So she's acknowledging this mistake that she made. And as you mentioned, a lot of people are talking about this now. And do you think that could have an impact on the World Doping Agency pulling pot off the list in the future?
I really do, but let me tell you why. We're seeing the general conversation around marijuana use specific to athletics and sports as a whole really shift. And it's not the recreational non-athletes that are driving it. It's the former athletes that are coming away with debilitating injuries and illness from their body breaking down over the years. And they say, hey, you know what? If nothing else, marijuana is tremendous for pain management. I'm not on these prescription pills. I'm not on these highly addicted opioids. I'm able to use a more natural substance. Now, I'm not pushing or advocating for marijuana use in any form. I'm just saying, objectively speaking, I've had my clients, current and former NFL athletes, say, hey, man, there are days that every part of me hurts. And I wish that we could tap into these things. But as the rules are currently written, we can't. So yeah, to answer your question, I really think Sha'Carri is really going to be that Trojan horse that gets to the gates and opens it up for a broader discussion on exactly why or why not marijuana is being used by these athletes. I think it's really going to open the doors.
Doug, thank you so much. We really appreciate your insight tonight.
Thanks for having me.